The dimly lit docking bay of the Starforge Emporium buzzed with activity. Alien merchants, their scales, feathers, and exoskeletons glistening under the harsh neon lights, haggled over shipments of plasma rifles, ion disruptors, and cloaking devices. In the center of it all stood Zorthal, a Crothian arms dealer known across the galaxy for his ruthlessness and impeccable inventory. His four eyes scanned the incoming cargo manifests, his mandibles clicking in satisfaction. Today, he was expecting a special delivery, a prototype weapon rumored to be the most destructive in the known universe. The shipment arrived on time, as always. A sleek, unmarked freighter glided into the bay, its engines humming softly. Zorthal's assistants scurried to unload the cargo, their clawed hands fumbling with the latches of the reinforced container. The dealer himself approached, his anticipation palpable. He had paid a fortune for this weapon, and he was eager to see it in action. But when the container hissed open, there was no gleaming device of mass destruction inside. No towering war machine. No sleek, alien tech firearm. Instead, there was a human. A single, unarmed human. Zorthal's mandibles froze mid-click. His eyes narrowed, and his voice, a deep, guttural growl, echoed through the bay. "What is this? Where is my weapon?" The human stepped out of the container, stretching casually, as if he had just woken up from a nap. He was tall by human standards, with short cropped hair and a faint scar running down his cheek. His eyes, a piercing blue, scanned the room with an unsettling calmness. He wore no armor, carried no visible weapons, and yet there was something about him that made the Crothian's skin crawl. "I am the weapon," the human said, his voice steady and confident. Zorthal let out a derisive snort. "You? A human? You are barely more than a primate. Your species is weak, fragile, and insignificant. What could you possibly offer me?" The human smirked, a gesture that seemed to irritate Zorthal even more. "You've been selling tools of destruction for centuries, Zorthal, but tools are only as good as the hands that wield them. What if I told you I could make your clients unstoppable? Not with gadgets or machines, but with strategy, with tactics, with the one thing your kind has never truly understood: the human mind." The arms dealer hesitated. He had heard rumors of humanity's ingenuity, their ability to turn the tide of battles with nothing but their wits. But he had always dismissed them as exaggerations. Still, there was something about this human's demeanor that made him pause. "Prove it," Zorthal demanded. The human nodded. "Give me your most challenging scenario. A battle your clients have lost, a war they couldn't win. Let me show you what I can do." Zorthal accessed his datapad, pulling up a recent conflict between the Xyloth Collective and the Vraxian Dominion. The Xyloth had been outnumbered, outgunned, and utterly defeated within hours. It was a hopeless situation, one that even the most advanced weapons couldn't salvage. The human studied the data for a moment, his eyes flicking across the screen. Then, without hesitation, he began to speak. He outlined a strategy so bold, so unconventional, that Zorthal found himself leaning in, his skepticism giving way to fascination. The human spoke of feints, decoys, and psychological warfare. He explained how to exploit the Vraxians' overconfidence, how to turn their own technology against them. By the time he finished, Zorthal was silent, his mind racing. This could work," the Crothian admitted grudgingly. The human smiled. "Of course it could. And this is just the beginning. Imagine what I could do for your other clients. Imagine the wars you could win, the profits you could make." Zorthal's eyes gleamed with a new kind of hunger. He had always dealt in physical weapons, but this was something else entirely. A weapon that could think, adapt, and outmaneuver any foe. A weapon that was, in its own way, far more dangerous than any machine. "Very well," the arms dealer said, extending a clawed hand. "You have a deal, human." The human shook his hand, his grip firm and unyielding. "You won't regret this." As Zorthal watched the human walk away, he couldn't help but feel a strange sense of unease. He had just acquired the most powerful weapon in the galaxy, but for the first time in his long career, he wondered if he had made a mistake. After all, humans were unpredictable, and unpredictability was the most dangerous weapon of all.